Oil prices have fallen sharply after reports that the U.S. is set to take new steps to bring down high fuel costs. The Biden administration is reportedly considering the release of up to 180 million barrels of oil in the coming months from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. If confirmed, this will be the largest ever release since the reserve was created back in 1974. The war in Ukraine has rocked global energy markets in recent weeks over concerns that supplies will be cut. In afternoon trade in Asia, U.S. oil benchmark West Texas Intermediate was 5.4% lower at $102 a barrel, while Brent crude was down by 4.6% at around $108.
For more on this, we can cross live to the United States and join Arise U.S. correspondent Rotimi Kade. Thanks for joining us on Newsday. Tell us more about what President Biden is expected to announce later today.
Well, President Biden has decided to take a monumental step to tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to tame or bring down significantly the prices of petroleum products in the U.S. and disrupt the spike in global energy prices. And part of his announcements today, according to the White House, will include the release of 180 million barrels of oil in the coming months. And this will definitely close the domestic production gap and supply gap as well to be self-sufficient at home and, of course, crash prices to pre-COVID-19 pandemic era in 2020. What the president has seen is popularity actually sink as inflation reached a 40-year high in February. And of course, the cost of petroleum and gasoline climbed after Russia invaded Ukraine. People here at home pay an average of about $2 more than they were paying 2 years ago. But of course, the administration is not just targeting the U.S. consumers alone. Since the Ukrainian war began, the U.S. and other countries agreed to the additional release of 60 million barrels from their oil reserves, and with half of it coming from the U.S. So the Biden administration is stepping up to the plate in a way that will definitely show up for the supply deficit that we've seen so far since the invasion. Russia is one of the top 3 producers of oil in the world, and as a result of that disruption, especially in Europe, many countries are now suffering from that short supply. So the U.S. is trying to kind of close in the gap and help the world to actually have a more or less like a stable price and not allow OPEC to actually dictates the price of oil, as it were.
And how big an issue is the cost of fuel in the U.S. ahead of the midterm elections in November?
Well, it's already a big issue. The conversation is going around because a lot of people are asking whether they're going to be paying more for the rest of the year. Don't forget that the economy, even though has added more jobs, but it hasn't translated to something more significant in terms of how people are paying their bills. And people obviously don't want to be paying more on gas because they believe that they have other bills like the rents, and other things, that they want to do with money. So it's not just enough for the economy to be so good and more jobs being created. A lot of people want more money in their pockets. Some states are already taking that initiative of giving tax rebates, to citizens of their states to see how they can ease the crunch, as it were, from the way the petroleum prices are significantly affected their daily life. In November, obviously, the Republicans have some really talking points to take to the stage, and of course tell people that when you look at what happened under the Trump administration, gas prices was about $2, an average about $2. Now you're paying almost 100% from 2020 post 2020. So it's something that even affected, the president's polling ratings at home. So I think this could be a more or less like a pre-stage to what is about to happen in November. Perhaps before, in the coming months, we might see the prices go down significantly, and the president can have something to talk about during the campaign.
Well, talking about the midterm elections, Rotimi, will the way the U.S. has handled the Russia-Ukraine crisis be a factor for voters?
Yeah, obviously. I think if you listen to most of the local stations here and even the radio stations, you will see that there's been a lot of frustration of how the Biden administration has been handling some of its campaign promises, and like, for instance, pulling out of Afghanistan has been a big issue. A lot of people do not feel that that was done in the right manner. Also, the Ukrainian-Russian crisis, some believe that the president should have done better in managing the crisis, shouldn't have resorted to a war, a full-blown war that people are now paying the price for it and the pumps. So it's going to be really, really a big issue coming in November because this time around, I think people are beginning to, shift base a little bit to what they thought it would be before. Don't forget, the Biden administration promised a lot, and they started on a very strong footing. In the sense that when they came in, that was when the COVID actually hits, and they see how they could rally around and get people back on their feet, provide more jobs. But on top of that, after trillions of dollars has been spent, people are still not satisfied with what the administration have done so far. So I think they have their work cut out for them, and in November, it has to be a really, really big debate.
All right. Thank you so much for joining the program this afternoon, Rotimi Kade.